Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Attractions Group Podcast, Season 5, Episode 2 today. We've got an amazing episode for you guys today. We're going to be having a fun, sporadic, goofy interview with Matt Miller. Super awesome. Make sure you stick around for that. It's going to be great. And then we're talking about our new series Behind the Scare a little bit and a little bit of a interesting hypothetical with some water park retoolings. Let's get into it on the Attractions Group Podcast. Hello, David.
How's it going?
The Reds have lost 5 games in a row.
Oh my
It's a
god.
really terrible
Is it
day.
5? I thought it was 4.
It's 5.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 5. That was painful to watch last
It's
night.
over.
Well,
It's over.
I take that back. We can't really talk about in generalities because, or in a sense, because we have a weekend series with the Cardinals. Full disclosure, we're recording this is Thursday, and
Yeah.
this isn't going to go live till Monday. So we have the series with the Cardinals that we're going to sweep. So we're going to be a 3-game winning streak. So that's
That would be awesome. Unfortunately, the Cincinnati Reds are incapable of beating teams in the NL Central. So probably we will not sweep the Cardinals for that, but
well, I guess we'll never get anybody on the Reds on this podcast, and there's a dissonant now.
no, no, it's okay. We should talk about that later. But anyway, we wow. Okay. Behind the Scare is coming up. D23 is coming up, by the way. Well, I'm sure we'll have some exciting things to talk about early September because D23 is
Yeah.
like this weekend, right?
Is it? I believe you're right. I don't remember the date specifically, but I know it is coming up.
Yeah, it's this weekend. Happy Labor Day, by the way. Today is Labor Day. The day we're
Yes.
posting this is Labor Day, so that's exciting. Maybe you're enjoying a day off. Probably not because you work in theme parks. You're probably enjoying
Yeah. You're really busy.
a
But
double
after that,
time
you're
day.
putting
I
the
know
grill
it.
away, closing the
Okay.
pool, putting the grill away.
Yep. Okay. Tell us a little bit about Behind
So
the Scare, David. What can we look forward to this week?
so since you did bring it up, we have the long talked about and threatened Behind the Scare series coming up is going to launch this week. We have a number of guests that we have lined up throughout the entire month of September. We're going to be posting those episodes, 3 episodes a week. That's a plan. Right now, we have all 12 spots full. A couple that have mentioned that they may want to be going on. So I don't know. We might extend that to 15. I don't know. But as always, when we have things scheduled out in advance, and we haven't done all the interviews yet, we always have a couple drop and a couple add. So if we stick with 12, it'll probably end up being something like 10 because some will drop back. But we have people from there's old Tucson. We're not going on there, but they're going to come on. There's Darkness St. Louis. We have someone a representative from there coming on. Even here in Cincinnati, Dent Schoolhouse, one of the original people that is designing that will be on. But yeah, we're looking forward to this. We've been talking about this for a couple months. And literally next week, it's going to start off. We are launching with our first episode is going to be our old friend, Don. Don is basically, he doesn't run a park. He's not a designer, but he is, there's not a park that the guy probably hasn't visited. So he's been to a number of different parks that do the haunt events. And he is able to talk about what it takes to put these things together. So we're looking forward to Don launching us off in that. And then sometime next week, I don't know what order these will be in exactly, but we have Lauren Crosby from Holiday World. Now, full disclosure, they don't do haunt event. So actually, about a third of the people are going to be interviewing. They don't do haunt events. They do more family friendly events. So we've decided that we are also going to. There's going to be Behind the Scare, and then on a couple of them it's going to be, and now you have to follow this, and hopefully this comes out correctly. Gourd Behind the Scenes. So it's a real clever, Gourd the pumpkin. So we have Lauren Crosby from Holiday World. Going to be talking Happy Halloween event, and then also later in the week as well, we will be having Cassie Tucker from the Discover Universal podcast coming on to talk about the Universal Halloween Horror Nights. So that is week number 1, launching next week for our Behind the Scare series, and then a whole lot more coming through the rest of September.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, David. Well, we teased it a little bit last week, but this week we've got on
Yeah.
Mr. Matt Miller, America's theme park technologist, to pick his brain about what he's moving into in the future here after the Orlando Informer and the wonderful adventure there. And, we're all grateful for the Orlando
Yeah.
Informer's existence, I'm sure. But we
Absolutely.
can get into all that. Matt, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
It's great to have you back on here. Now, I think this is the first time you've been here, definitely since Cleet and I have been doing it, but I think when Ryan and Don did the show, you were, I think it's probably coming up on 3 years ago, I think was the last time you were on.
Yeah.
Unless you've been on
Yeah.
since.
Yeah.
Now,
Because
I've
I
got
have
a
been
question. I got a question of many. So you were the face of the Orlando Informer for a number of years. You did the Thursday morning show on the Fox affiliate in Orlando, and of course, anybody that goes to the Orlando Informer, this is probably a separate question. They're familiar with your mom, Mama Miller.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Now,
yes.
I understand you're no longer with Orlando Informer. What about Mama Miller?
Oh, yeah. That really is the $1 million question. We probably can just end the podcast here, sell some sponsorship, what's happening. No, I can tell you that both myself and Mom, we are still very much friends and fans of Orlando Informer. And while I may not be getting a full-time paycheck there, definitely still connected with my friends there. And Mama Miller is still planning to be around and hugging neighbors.
Will she be there?
She should be. Yeah, she's planning on being there.
All right.
Good.
Well, Matt, let's talk about your time at the Orlando Informer, because you did have a good run there. I think you're there probably 6 years. Is that right?
Yeah, right at. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So during that time, you actually came there when they were just getting started. So can you start with the etymology of how that all evolved from, I believe they went from just renting out one of the eating spaces to renting out the entire park, not just a park, but both parks. So can you give us a brief background of how that all came about?
Sure. So Orlando Informer is this incredible global community of theme park fans. And it's folks that get together, say, hey, I love the parks. It really flourished through a Facebook community, Universal, by Orlando Informer, that community there. And hundreds of thousands of people literally from around the globe sharing their love of theme parks. And, around 2015, started getting the idea, hey, what if, we started getting people together and a small group got together in the second floor of Confisco's there at the front of Islands of Adventure. And when I say small group, I mean, literally we're talking, I believe it was 55 people. I mean, less than 100 by far. Mm-hmm. And that has turned into what we now know as this global phenomenon of the Orlando Informer, where, we're going to meet, one time a year. Maybe we can meet twice a year. And then, like you said, I was lucky enough to join the team. And then from there, we did our best to flourish, the event as much as possible. And then that started going into, well, if we can do one night, can we do 2 nights back to back? And, why are we only doing 1 or 2 weekends a year? Can we do multiple weekends? And, some of the weeks, instead of a Friday, Saturday, do we try a Thursday, Friday, Saturday? And, just to dozens, or more Orlando Informer meetup events throughout a year. So it was incredible. Taylor Strickland is the CEO there at the company. And he was my boss for the 6 years that I was there. And I actually knew him prior to leaving Universal to help him at OI. And think the world of him. I mean, what he did there, even turning that fan community into something that could even have 50 people show up. That's not an easy task on its own, right? And, for that to happen several years ago, and then obviously under his leadership, the company has just flourished. He's done a fantastic job building relationships, not only with Universal, but with other parks, here in Orlando. They sell discounted tickets. I mean, they do it all. They cover the news. Just to be clear, the Orlando Informer meetup currently is only at Universal Orlando, but they have relationships, through the ticketing deals and other media outlets, really across the board. So I think the world of them. I'm sure they'll probably watch this once we go live. And matter of fact, I was texting some of them last night. So I'm still the big Orlando Informer
Very
fan.
cool.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Okay, what were some of your highlights there? What some accomplishments that happened under your watch?
Yeah, so for me, I would say there's really two. The biggest thing is the Orlando Informer meetup just exploded, right? I mean, to literally go from less than 100 one time, 2 times a year. By the time I joined, they were doing like 2 weeks a year, like 2 weekends, trying to do back to back, to where now, really after Halloween, you basically have almost every weekend up to Christmas. There's like 4 weekends back to back to back to back. So to see that, take off, and obviously in order to do something like that, the fan engagement has to grow with it, right? Because, we won't get into numbers, but obviously a lot more than 50 people, were showing up. The park still felt empty with that many people there, but it was just so neat to see all the countries, that would attend. I mean, we had people literally from all over the world that would fly in for these events. And then I would say my second highlight is, in order to do that, you have to scale up, your efforts, right, in terms of the teams and building out the organizations. And we knew we're going through this incredible growth. We need to grow more, but we can't do it by ourselves. And we actually started strategic partnerships with folks like Rosen, UCF, the University of Florida, some of these major colleges that have theme park clubs. And we would work with, the student leaders in those clubs. And we would say, listen, we've got X number of weekends come up. We would love to get, can you send us 20 college kids, that sort of thing. And then they would come and, we didn't ask them to work for free. They would get paid. They would often get to stay in a hotel room on site, especially when we're working, 2 nights in a row. And then my favorite part was, they get to mix and mingle not only with the Orlando Informer team, but with the other executives that would come by. And I just remember thinking, gosh, like if I would have had an opportunity like this when I was in college, I would have sold, my right arm, right, to have had this. So I think that's what made it so special, is that Taylor and I, we, and the rest of the team, we remembered what it was like getting started and maybe not having, such a, an opportunity as this. So we really tried to feed into that to make sure that these college kids, were well taken care of. And now, I mean, that we started that, gosh, 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago. And now those students have went on and, some of them work for Universal Creative or Walt Disney Imagineering or other firms. And it's really cool to see, they've made their way into the industry.
Awesome.
That's cool. I remember the first year that we went there, and this, we're not talking about a long time between the first time that we went there and last year. But the first time we went down, you come up to the entrance, I believe, on the studio side, and the entrance that the Orlando Informer went was kind of angled down the walkway there, and then we went behind the entrance. And it is maybe single, double file line that you went through. Fast forward 1, 2, 3, 4 years later, now all of a sudden you're going into this gigantic sound stage with people in turnstiles waiting. And that's just in a span of a short number of years. We went there, I think last year. I personally probably heard about 5 different languages spoken by people. It's an international event. It's interesting what they were able to do with that to get people flying in from. Do you have a record of where people were flying in from to go there?
We do, and I'm not joking when I say it is dozens of countries, like literally from a lot of folks from the UK. We know a lot of Harry Potter fans right across the pond, Mexico, Canada, the ones that you would expect, but Japan, wherever. I'm just talking about like way on the other side of the globe. They would fly in, come spend a weekend. And then what really got neat is when we started doing these bookend weekends. So like in December and in November, we would do a weekend. Then nothing, wouldn't have anything during the week. And then the next weekend, we had another OI meetup. So they would fly in, come to that weekend of an OI meetup, then do other things in Orlando for a week, and then come to the next Orlando Forum meetup that following weekend, and then go home. So it was really cool to see them book in their travel like that, especially knowing, they've traveled for such a ways to come see us.
That's incredible. But I understand it too. I mean, you get free butterbeer. That's alone, I think that'll do it for me. I every time I've been to an Informer meetup, there's been at least an hour where my stomach has been upset because I just drank way too much butterbeer. So, you win
You
some,
can't
you lose
leave
some.
quickly. So now you've moved on from that. And I tell you what, let me pick a number of years because favorite Matt Miller stories that actually happened to me. Which two questions. First one, did you ever make it to Skyline?
Oh, you know what? You made the recommendation, and I went. I had to go try it, of course.
Of course. Yeah. Well, okay. Thoughts. There's either you like it, yeah. Is it up or down?
Oh, I'm a chili
Or
guy.
side? No,
So thumbs up.
oh, you're
Yeah,
All
yeah,
all
right.
yeah. Now,
whenever
take
you're
it for
feeling
what
good and
it's
hungry,
worth.
it's Skyline time.
I was gonna say, yeah. I enjoy chili. We don't get too many cold days here in Florida, so I'm more of a cold day chili guy. But I do enjoy a nice bowl of chili.
Nice.
Now the
Nice.
story. Now if my internet starts cutting out, you're gonna have to cut me off, and I'll maybe do some other time. But okay, so Matt, we're at the IAPA convention, and for those of you who don't know who Matt is, there's not many people in the industry Matt doesn't know. He can walk down the aisle at the IAPA and point to about 100 different people in one aisle in one section of an aisle that he knows. And so he comes up and the booth that we had, we were doing interactive technology at that time. And so he's like, "Oh, what my buddy or my friend, whatever, he needs to come here and talk to you guys about what you're doing." He doesn't say who the person is, just his friend. So I'm thinking, oh, some connection Matt's going to come up and we're going to talk about this. And of course, when people come walking up, their name tags, for whatever reason, they get flipped over. The name side is never out. It's always the back side of the tag where you can't see who the person is. So the people come walking up, and Matt, of course, goes, "Hey, this is my friend David. He's talking to you about some of the stuff they're doing." Then he leaves. Next to is best I know. This is one of the people fishing with his mom out. That is the only thing I know, or that I could know. So I'm standing there. Okay, who am I talking to? The one guy, he's an older guy. No, well, I'm an older guy. Distinguished guy, we'll put it that way. And so I'm thinking, okay, both these guys, their name tags are turned around. Okay, the who I'm talking. So, and I forget what the one guy's name was. And so one name tag flips over, and it's president of the creative. Oh crap! To an actual someone, if that makes sense. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, I need to change how I'm talking. And so all this is processed in my head concurrently. And then all of a sudden, the other guy, he makes one of these head fakes like this to see who's walking by. He turns back, and his name tag flips over. So I angle down. Mike Hightower, president of Universal Creative, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh crap! What have I?" And I'm still talking in the back of my head. I'm thinking, "What have I been saying? How have I been saying it?" And I need to change course here of how because I'm thinking I'm talking to a guy passing fishing line at the pond, not the guy that's Universal Creative. And so I don't know how the conversation went. I was kind of trying to figure out, kind of self-manage myself in the middle of all of it. And then Matt comes up, of course, 15 minutes later, and like all you would have had to do was introduce, turn around, and just kind of mouth, "He's the president," and leave. That's really all you would have had to do. So yeah, that's my Matt Miller story.
Well, you told me you wanted to meet somebody, right? So I did my best, and I thought I got to give my best of my best.
Well, you ran that one way up the flagpole.
But I hear the
Matt,
presentation went well. So you did a good job. You did a great job. Just so you know, the report came back that you did a good job.
Yeah, well, it must have scared him because neither are Universal Creative anymore. I think the senior vice president guy. I think Mike Hightower retired first or moved on, and then I think the other guy resigned. Or they probably both retired. I think shortly thereafter.
Yes, the other gentleman was Modesto, and he retired shortly after that. And it's funny, I actually had dinner with him this week, so he's still around, and he's still very much involved. with friends of the industry and
Mhm.
doing different things. But both of them are incredible gentlemen. But I'm glad they got to meet you. You're incredible as well, Dave.
Yeah. Well, next time anything like that happens, just turn around and mouth the words of who I'm talking to, so I can not not wonder. Okay, if I sound like an idiot in my instead of talking to people way above my pay grade.
Oh, come on now. But see,
So
if I do that, then you're nervous at the start of the conversation, right? If I
Yeah,
wait, then you're
that's
not
right.
nervous till the end of the conversation. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
I
That's
don't know if
exactly right.
I don't know if I'd rather be nervous at the beginning of the conversation or three-quarters of the way through and trying to wonder what have I said. Oh
Definitely
Understand.
well,
the end.
I guess
I
we'll
think.
never
I don't
know.
know. I don't know. Okay, we should get into what is in my mind the main event in some ways. You're no longer with the Orlando Informer. You're now with a group called Innovative Studios. Innovated Studios. Tell us a little bit about Innovated Studios, what you do there, what the company is, and what you guys just 101.
Yeah.
Let's hear. Yeah.
So for a lot of folks, when I left Orlando Informer and they went to Innovative Studios, the first thing they said is why, and the second thing they said is who, right? So I've had this question a lot, which is completely fine because that means that I've got some job security here to help answer both of those questions. So Innovative Studios is an organization based in Orlando, very involved in the theme park industry, and it is ran by CEO Brad Reedy. Now, the reason why I'm so excited about it is Brad is actually somebody that I have known for right at 15 years. So, believe it or not, he used to be an executive of entertainment at Universal Orlando.
Okay.
And we met while working on Halloween Horror Nights, specifically while working on the legendary truth experiences of Halloween Horror Nights, really around 2012 through 2016. They've done some other things as well, but that was really the sweet spot of when we spent the most time together. After that, we stayed in touch. He went off and started his own organization, obviously, and then I stayed at Universal, and then I went to Orlando Informer, and then there became an opportunity for me to join Brad again. So, one, just the fact that I get to work with him, be under his leadership, is absolutely incredible. If you haven't met him, the way I would describe him is he's a literally Iron Man. And I mean that. He's the type of guy, as you can see behind me, he can build anything. You could put him in a garage or like a Home Depot, and he could put together a team, and like a flying car would come out the front door. Like literally, that's why, like, especially for the Halloween Horror Night stuff, I loved getting to work with him because we're working on cool stuff, and I feel like I'm learning more than I'm really helping. Do they really need me here, or am I just here taking notes because it's like a college class? I'm not sure, but it's incredible to work with him. And then we've got this wonderful team of about 20 project managers, engineers that are here. And then obviously we ramp up to even larger staff whenever we have big projects that come on. So, we hold major contracts with, the large theme parks, your Disney Imagineerings, your Universal Creatives,
Mhm.
that sort of thing. We do cruise lines, we help with Broadway shows, we do pyro, we help hold contracts for pyro, I should say, interactive technologies. We love the theme park space, and even more so, we love helping cool people build cool things. So folks will come to us and say, "Hey, I've got a dream about, if it's a new interactive technology for an attraction, or maybe something they want to do for a show." Literally, like, to kind of give you an array, a major theme park may come to us and say, "Hey, we've got big plans, 10 years from now, can you help us with major expansion?" All the way to, here we've got there's a local breast cancer foundation, and we help them put together a laser show for a golf charity event that they do. So, talk about, across the spectrum. We really have a lot of fun here.
Cool. Cool.
Cool. But Matt, and I don't want to get these out of order, but let me ask a question because this comes up. This is how Cleet introduced you a little bit. Is this little term called theme park technologist? So
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of context that goes into that. Tell us, start from zero. What is a theme
Sure.
park technologist?
So for anybody that's in the industry or maybe that's studying the industry, they will tell you it's never one person that builds anything, especially in attraction, right? You've got
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of disciplines, different organizations, and obviously technology plays a really large role in that. If it's show systems or if it's wireless, like whatever the case is. So when I joined the industry, this was I've been in it right at 15 years. So 2010, 2011, I was doing my internships. And then really in 2011 is when I landed my second internship, which was at Universal Orlando. And at that time, they just called it the IT department. I was in the IT department, and it was great. And I was so thankful to be at the parks. But really, at that time, when you think of IT, you thought of, my PowerPoint crashed. Can you fix my
Mhm.
printer? My phone isn't working. But at theme parks, we're becoming ever more interconnected, and parks are starting to get guest-facing wireless internet, and ideas of like what would later become, let's say like a Nintendo where there's interactive games, right? Creative was starting to work on these things that they had never worked on, and it was involving the IT team a lot more than ever before. It was becoming, more than just fix my printer. So because of that, the division at Universal, then they made, this was a public announcement. They announced this publicly. They changed it from IT to Parks Technology. So for about a decade, that division was called Parks Technology because they said, when we say IT, people think that just printers break. And while that is still a very important role of the business, there's another side of it that is helping with the new attractions and the new retail and new entertainment and that sort of thing. And that's when we started getting these roles of, well, like, what do we call these people? So this idea of technologists, really came out of that. Now, to be fair, when you make a change like that, your titles don't always change. So I still had, just normal IT titles, but in conversations, we started using this word technologist. And now, not just at Universal, at Disney, SeaWorld, Six Flags, across the board, it's not uncommon to actually see a similar style role that I had is now actually posted as theme park technologist or technologist of X, and like whatever the system is that they're working on at that specific park. So that's really where the title came from.
So you mentioned the brief question of like some people have asked you, what was it that made you want to go to innovative studios? What made you seek out that transition a little bit? I do have the question more specifically of at Universal, you were doing this kind of technical side of things, kind of the production side of things, kind of the creation of experiences, and at Orlando and Former, it seems like that was less the case. You weren't as much involved in the development of physical things as much as it was the events and the infrastructure thereof. Did you miss the technical side of things? Did you miss the creation of new products? Was that part of that?
That is a fantastic question, and I'll tell you this. Really, I have an answer for that. I loved my time at Universal. Actually, I was in Tokyo, in Osaka, helping with the Universal Japan Park at the time that I left to go to Orlando and Former. So, I mean,
Wow.
when I say they took me around the globe, like literally, I mean, I could not have been more thankful for the opportunities that Universal gave me. And then honestly, the reason why I left, nothing bad at all happened at Universal, but internally, I have always felt like one day I want to be a park president of a theme park. That is my ultimate goal of my career arch. And the reason for that, it's not, some people want to be the president because it's a power move, and it's,
Mhm.
I want to be my own boss. I don't want to answer anybody. That's not where I'm at. I come from it as I see everything in a theme park really as, this incredible symphony. It's like an orchestra, right? And you're leading the band. And I just love it when all the pieces of a theme park come together and they play the beautiful music of a wonderful day for a family. And I've always thought, I think I would be a pretty good conductor of that band. And so that is why I eventually would like to become a park president. And while I was working on cutting edge technology, I mean, just incredible interactives, I didn't feel like personally I had cut my teeth enough on the business side, right? Like if I was interviewing myself and I would say, okay, you're going to come run my park, what business have you ran? How have you already acted as a president before we interview for this role? And the truth was, I didn't have a good answer for that. So knowing Taylor, and I could kind of see where I thought Orlando Informer was going to go. That's why I left Universal to go to Orlando Informer was I want to have the opportunity to run something like a president. I want to help with acquisitions of other companies. I want to help with I had never done a profit and loss statement, right? Like as a technologist, looking at, how much debt does a company have or cash flow, things like that. That wasn't my role at Universal. So going to Orlando Informer, it's like, great, it's a clean slate. The business is taking off. We're debt free. it was really cool it was much smaller, right? I mean, it wasn't $1 billion organization, but I finally got to work those muscles and, learn the things that I really had never done before. So that was why I went to Orlando Informer. Now, coming to Innovative Studios, it's really a cross between the two. So here I get to be, the creative director of portfolio. And what that really means is I'm helping Innovative grow. So yes, like earlier today, I was in a technical meeting and, I get to work with our engineers and our project managers and sit alongside of them and, hopefully help guide them. But that isn't, I'm not held responsible for is this interactive working at the end of the day. What
Yeah.
I'm doing, like what we're doing here, is I want to go out and preach the good news of Innovative Studios. This is probably the coolest organization that you have never heard of. And, if it wasn't for EAs, I could go through a long list of projects and you would know every single one of them that I mentioned. So we're doing some really cool stuff here. And just like the Orlando Informer meetup, where they had a couple and it felt like it was going to take off, really, I feel like Innovative Studios is posed for that same style of growth. They've done a fantastic job, and I feel like working with the team that Brad and Melanie, who's the CEO here, has already put together, I feel like I can really help them get to the next level. So that was why I decided to come to Innovative.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
are you able to talk about any project that is maybe in the past or that you're familiar with? Maybe leaving the company or the organizational name out, but just talk about what kind of a project it was and what the challenge was going into it and how Innovative Studios solved and what the outcome.
Yeah, sure. So I won't go into the theme park. I won't go into start naming off theme parks, right? But I can
Right,
tell
right.
you
Leave
that
the name out.
basically every major land that is opened in some theme park in Central Florida for the past few years, Innovative has had a hand in it in some way or the other. Not all of them, but for a heck of a lot of them. And a lot of times, what will happen is this is a good example. There's a group near Orlando that is looking at doing like retail dining type experiences.
Hmm.
And they were like, hey, we see, Disney, Universal, even SeaWorld's done like bubble wands. We see that interactives inside of these experiences really seem to be popular. Can we have some version of, if it's a bubble wand or some other type of technology that we can use to tell a story in a food and beverage slash entertainment style, experience? And that's really unique, right? Because a lot of times, let's say it's a big mall, you just go to a mall and there's a lot of stores side by side. You don't really think about, a cohesive story that's connecting these together. So they came and, they had some ideas and we threw out some pitches, and then, we were able to come together, help them build out the story, for what they're doing. And then a cool thing about Innovative, and I've got a lot of friends in the industry. I'm sure some of them are watching this. So this is not meant to put anybody down, but just to kind of give you an idea of what makes Innovative so special is a lot of theme park companies can do everything that I just said. They can take you to a boardroom. They can have a concept meeting with you. And our industry is heck of good at putting up pretty pictures on a TV screen, right? Here's the
Hmm.
concept art. If you got $1 billion, you can build this. And then that concept art ends up on the news or on some blog and everybody gets excited, right? Where we really separate ourselves is, yes, we can help you get the concept art, but this thing, whatever this interactive is in your hand, we can physically build it for you. Like, we're not just going to do a 3D picture of it. You're going to come to our office and we're going to put it in your hand. And you're going to say, oh, it's too heavy or it's too light or I don't like the bubbles or whatever. We're not just conceptual. And a lot of folks in our organization or in our industry, they're just conceptual. And then they go out and try to find other people to bring this in. We are so blessed here at Innovative Studios to have in-house, seriously, world-class engineers, project managers, schedulers, that sort of thing, to where, you can have the idea and I can have an engineer sitting here at the table that maybe starts soldering those wires together. So you can't see it, but behind this wall here, I've got almost a 20,000 square foot creative studio, which is basically a big warehouse full of toys. And, from robots to interactives, you name it, it's in there. And so that's just something that really separates us. We have incredible partners. I'm not trying to say we do it all by ourselves, because obviously we don't. But, we really like to see an idea from concept all the way through. And when we say all the way through, we mean all the way through and not just handing it off to somebody halfway through.
So now, in your transition from the Orlando Informer, which is pretty much it's a fan-based community, and you are delivering the product. The product is the park. People are coming there, and that's what you spend a lot of time developing and building that community. Because I think your fan base grew tremendously during the 6 years you were there, going from you rented out a restaurant, then doing a ride, then you're doing the parks. So those 6 years, you went from doing IT discipline and creative things to then you're building this product and you're delivering the park. That's your deliverable. Now you're conceptualizing. How big of a transition was that to go all the way to being more focused on the technology behind the the park and to present that to a whole different audience?
Yeah.
How has that transition been with you?
So great question. And you're right. I mean, really to go from like a B2C company to more of a B2B, if you're delivering
Very
a
much.
theme park technology type thing, you're exactly right. Honestly, though, I think there's a lot more similarities than there appear when you first say it out loud. So everything you just said is true, right? Like I'm not arguing against that, but I think that for all of them, if it's an IT system at Universal, if it's a theme park event, with Orlando Forum Meetup, or some cool new interactive with Innovative Studios, all of it really starts with what is the outcome that we're trying to get to, right? So at one, it was we want this IT system to run smooth. At another, it is we want the guests to have the most incredible time at a nighttime, event, to
Mm-hmm.
either the partner that we're selling this technology to or whoever we're helping to implement it for. We want their guests to have the best time. So really at the base of it, it's all guest facing, right? Like maybe not all the work is, but the outcome is, can we ensure that the guests have the most incredible, the most extraordinary day they've ever had? And so obviously to get there, IT or an event or an interactive, it's been a little bit different, but that's the outcome. Now, I would say that each role really helped prepare me for the next. So doing the technology at Universal, then going into, like an executive operational leadership role at Orlando Informer, my day-to-day was different, but I could see the importance of things that I had worked on at Universal, right? So when we're doing an event and somebody says, oh, we're going to check in people, well, I know the importance of a ticketing system because I've helped implement ticketing systems. And, what is that speed of velocity of getting people in? How many people can we get in per hour? Can we do it faster? So that really lended itself into that. And now, going from Orlando Informer to Innovative Studios, at OI, I helped build a business. I saw a business on the cusp of growing into something spectacular. Because, I mean, one, I cannot take all the credit for Orlando Informer. And two, it was a heck of a company before I even joined, right? But me joining there, I'd like to think that I helped throw gasoline on the fire and it took off. So to
Mm-hmm.
get to move into another situation like Innovative Studios to where it's a heck of a company before Matthew Miller ever joins. But I'm hoping that I can help them also throw some gasoline on the fire and, watch the business take off more.
Absolutely.
So I think they really lend well to each other.
So speaking of like throwing gasoline on the fire, in the production, in the whole technology world right now is kind of, everyone is talking about artificial intelligence all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anyone really, it's so nebulous in so many different ways and it means so many different things all the time. But how do you see AI changing the way new attractions are made, are thought of, are planned out, and then maybe even are experienced by the guest? Do you think that AI can change all of those from start to finish, and in what ways?
Yes, I think that the answer is yes to everything you just said. And I honestly think that we're already seeing that.
Yeah.
I personally, I'm a big fan of AI. I like, your comment on it being nebulous. I think the most frustrating part of AI is that, at least for me, I find my favorite tool, and about 2 weeks later, maybe a week later, somebody leapfrogs it, right? So I'm on OpenAI and I'm loving it. And then, X, Twitter, Grok comes out and maybe it leapfrogs it. Then, Google Gemini says, hey, don't forget about me. And then somebody else says, hey, don't forget about me. And then OpenAI jumps them all again. So I think the hardest part right now is, just being willing to play with all of them, co-pilot, and, just trying to figure out in the situation that you're working on what works best. I think the most immediate impact that AI is having is on the business side. Things such as, AI, please read this contract. Is it a good contract? Could it be smarter? What holes do you see in my contract, right? Okay, I've got the contract. Now I'm working on maybe a business plan or a story idea. You feed that into AI. Hey, Adi, what questions do you have about this? Do you see any things that could trip me up? each division, right? Like one of my personal favorite things about AI is I really like Excel, but I don't consider myself an Excel wizard. I love opening up AI, putting in 2 different Excel sheets and just telling it what to do. Like, I don't necessarily have to know what a VLOOKUP formula is anymore. I can just say, hey, AI, can you please take this budget and compare them? Can you mix and match them? I've gotten 2 different things. Compare them. There's hundreds of lines in this. And in less than a minute, it can say line 7, 8, 9 are the only differences. Everything else is the same. So I think that it is speeding up the way that people work. And I think that it's just making them smarter humans in the business. And that's not just for theme parks, right? You can work at your local bank, at your local hardware store,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously we're talking specific to theme parks here. And then on the guest side, absolutely. For years, the parks, if you think about like the Shrunken Head, let's say, at Diagon Alley, or some of these new interactive characters that Disney's doing with like Star Wars and the droids, right? Even years ago, gosh, you think about like in the 90s when you had Push the trash can driving around, right? There's always been this idea of, can a guest walk up and interact with some type of character? And
Mm-hmm.
it's always been, you got to have, the buttons are hidden either in another room and they're watching you, over camera, or there's somebody that's nearby that looks like a guest, but in their pocket, they've got a control system and, they're firing off different commands. I think we will start to see more of those systems move into AI, to where, maybe now I have somebody that walks with the robot just to keep things safe. But a lot of
Mm-hmm.
these, hello, what is your name? This is my response. I think that AI, practically it's there now, right? I mean, I can pick up my phone and talk to AI like it's a human. So I think that on the character interactions, we will definitely see a lot more of AI input.
Yeah, awesome. The thing I think AI is the best at right now, for me in particular, is like language
Oh,
barriers.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Google Translate is good. Like I don't want to, it gets a lot of hate for not understanding context and stuff, and some of that's fair, but it's a lot better than it was 5-6 years ago. But
Yeah.
like Gemini and ChatGPT are unbelievable. They're language machines. Of course, they're good at translating. And you can, there's a feature that you can use through Copilot now when you're having a Teams meeting, where you can literally just have a Zoom call, on Teams, and everything is automatically translated for you. Like you don't even know that there's a language barrier. That's incredible. And
Yeah.
it's super exciting too when you think about the globalism and the way the world is getting smaller,
Mm-hmm.
because, our technology is making us bigger and distances shorter and all these things. So, yeah, very cool.
Absolutely. And I think another thing is like all the input. Think about all the surveys that they get, right, in different languages. At the end of the day, when somebody's at the turnstile or the monorail, wherever, right, like getting feedback, one, to be able to translate that basically in real time, but then also to take all that data and to be able to give you a concise definition of what that is saying, right? Like I don't have to sit there for hours and compile this data anymore. I can feed it, into some type of AI system, and it will say, hey, your guests seem to be more happy this way or less happy this way. I just think it's fascinating across the board.
And then you can talk to the data too, of course. Now you can say, okay, well, why do you think that is? Give me 5 reasons, that this might be true.
Yeah.
And then it'll give you, maybe they're garbage, but maybe they're not, so it's pretty incredible, Yeah.
Yeah, love the talking feature. Matter of fact, we're talking about the technologist, with this America's Theme Park Technologist, brand that I've got going now. It's opened up a lot of doors on the media side, a lot of TV stuff. And honestly, if I have time, like sometimes they'll call me and I'll do breaking news and it's like, I'm just answering in the moment. But sometimes they'll say, hey, 24 hours from now, 48 hours from now, can you come to the studio and talk about X subject? I will literally put my AI device, in the car, in the seat next to me. And I'll say, hey, I'm going to the studio. I've got an hour's drive. We're going to talk about XYZ. What should I talk to me? And I'll practice my media interview in real time with the AI bot. And then it'll say, hey, you didn't do too good that time. This is where you, or that was really good that time. So it kind of hurts my feelings when AI just says I didn't do a great job, but I think it makes me better.
Oh, that's so funny.
With
Cool.
AI, one of the things that it just makes me reflect. And I'm in another business I have is a B2B company, So I get a lot of outreaches from people. I could tell that they use AI in the marketing. And one thing I really think in as humans, obviously, we need to be careful about is that I think AI is a great tool. It's an imperfect tool as of now, anyway. And I think it's made people in marketing positions a little lazier because I can tell when someone has sent something to me and it's just copy paste, and I read
Yeah.
through it and okay, you apparently did not read this at all. You just looked at the prompt, you put this in, all this sounds good, boom, boom, and
Yeah.
I think it's from a marketing standpoint. I think there's a lot of tools with it. I wish when I was in my last moment that I was a marketing director that I would have had half of the tools, a fraction of the tools that we have available now. But yeah,
Yeah.
but I probably would have been one of those people like, oh, this I can do this at night and just schedule through the day, and I don't even have to show up. So, but it has I think made some departments lazy because the
Yeah.
human element, at least for the foreseeable future, isn't going to go away. And the AI only learns what's out there, and that it sometimes doesn't cover the idiot factor.
That's right.
As
I
a
think that you still have your in-house knowledge. No, I agree with you.
right,
Like, I think this is a great example. I was talking earlier about our CEO, Brad Reedy. He didn't pay me to say this. He's not even here right now, so I can say what I want to about it. I think the
Beth will
world
be
of the man.
watching.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe it's watching. I think the world of the man, and I have for a long time. But I can tell you, if you gave Brad Reedy a day in the Home Depot, walked into a Home Depot and said, I need you to build XYZ, you could give me 6 months in the same Home Depot and I couldn't do it. I just don't have that hands-on technical knowledge that he has. And that's how I see AI, right? Like if I sit down and I go to, ChatGPT, let's say, and I say, build me a mobile app, that mobile app is never going to be as good as a recent, computer science grad that sits down and says, hey,
Hmm.
I know about HTML, I know about Java, C+, whatever. And they speak to it very specifically and they feed in the type of information that it takes to literally build the thing. We'll both end up with a mobile app, but it will never be as good, or Home Depot, it will never be as good as the person that has that knowledge. So I think the secret to AI is learning how to ask the right questions and having the knowledge yourself to be able to ask the smartest questions in the room. For me, that's the secret to be successful in AI.
So
Yeah.
as we're talking about the all AI, full disclosure, I went to my lovely assistant Dolores and typed in, can you give me a biography of Matt Miller, formerly Orlando Informer, and now works for Innovative Studios. Boom, and it comes up, you're a patent holder. I didn't know. I've known you for a number of years. I didn't know you had a patent. Talk to us about that. And is
Yeah. So
Dolores right?
she is, yes, it's correct.
Ah,
So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so it's an interactive token system, and basically it was a patent based on interactive technologies in the theme parks. So it was something that when I was spending my time with Universal Creative, there's these ideas where basically you're working on different projects, and you can basically pitch ideas, or sometimes they will hear it and decide it themselves to then send it through a program to actually patent this idea. And it's pretty cool. Again, we're not going to talk anything here that's secretive.
sure.
That, actually on the job site for Universal Creative, they'll show these. They'll show, like manager of patent, or like some of the job descriptions will talk about the patent process. While I never went through the process at Walt Disney Imagineering, or at Six Flags or wherever, I believe it is somewhat similar, that other organizations, they want to protect the intellectual property in house. When good ideas come up, they want to protect them. But yeah, I won't say what we were working on, but we were working on some pretty cool stuff, and was awarded a patent for that. And it's awesome. I got a plaque for it from the patent office, and they sent it to me, and it was really cool. And a matter of fact, in new roles now, maybe some others that have been submitted. So hopefully soon, maybe there'll be an S on the end of that patent. But yes, you're correct. As of right now, I do hold a single patent, and I'm very thankful to have had that opportunity.
That's awesome.
Cool. Cool.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, true
Wait,
story.
and we actually been at this for a while, and this is one of those. There's people that you can be in the conversation with them for a couple hours, and it seems like a couple minutes. Now we haven't been here a couple hours, but Matt, you're just a very engaging person. You're a great storyteller, and you're able to. I'm looking at this, and we've been recording for over 40 minutes. I'm looking at this thing for like 15, 20. So this has been a great interview. I feel like we could end this right now, and there's still a lot of other things to get into. We haven't even scratched the surface on a lot of different things because you have a lot of background, and I still have other questions. Like, by the way, is Theme Park Thursday still? Is that? Are you still on the Fox affiliate? Did I call it by the right
I
name?
am. No, yeah.
All right.
Theme Park Thursday, and actually exciting news here, which may
Are we
air.
breaking news?
I have
Is
yes,
this
this is
breaking news?
breaking news.
Oh my goodness! All
Yeah, we
right.
did it, David.
Yeah,
David, we did
yeah,
it.
yes. You got breaking news that I haven't shared anywhere publicly. Um, I won't say what station or channel or whatever, but most of my segments have been 5 minutes. I'm
Okay.
actually going to be doing some hour-long shows here in the near future.
Really?
So we've started planning, started recording. Again, I don't want to give away any
Sure.
secrets in terms of station or syndication, whatever. But there appears that there's going to be a lot more TV opportunities starting. It should start airing before the end of September. So it's the Theme
Well,
Park Thursday
Very
took
cool.
off, and it opened up other opportunities, and it's been. I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm so far out of my wheelhouse. Like this idea of TV and doing this stuff, I'm having a blast doing it. But
That's
I'm
awesome.
like a kindergartner. I'm learning as I go.
man,
So
man.
what can we look on this? Is this going to be like a Bill Maher? Is this going to be Jerry Springer or Ben Shapiro? What's going to be? What do we?
Maybe, yeah,
What kind of
maybe we
show
can.
format?
Like we could throw up, let's say, like roller coaster ideas, right? And maybe we could like box for the favorite one. I don't know. Like it's got to make for great TV somewhere. No, it will. So there's actually a couple of different outlets of how this is going to be coming. And again, I don't want to spoil too much, but the
Sure.
idea is for 5 minutes we can talk about breaking news, or we can talk about the latest D23 announcement, whatever the case is. But you can't really dive into things. It's hard to dive into,
Right.
especially complex topics within an hour. So we're going to be doing a lot of deep diving. We're actually going to be doing some hands-on things, like maybe building things in real time or showing how certain theme park technology works in real time. So I hope that it's engaging. I hope that it's not boring, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So I'm really excited. And maybe I get canceled after one season or one episode, but at least I can say I had one episode. So we'll see how it goes.
Is this going to be a weekly thing, or is this going to be just a segment or a series of
Yeah.
segments? What is this going to be?
So we are still flushing that out. I can confirm it is multiple stations, multiple type
Okay.
syndications, and each one of them has different needs. Some of them are looking at more of a very specific weekly, type show, whereas others are like, hey, maybe we have another series and we can drop you in at key points, that sort of thing. So honestly, at this point, as much as I do, it's been a lot. We're in the planning phases now, and we're planning on recording in the next couple of weeks, and then actually the first few will be live in the station. So hopefully well before Halloween. I think by the end of September, honestly, but I would say by October we should be rocking and rolling.
Wow.
This is the
That's awesome.
modern version of the Wonderful World of Disney. It sounds like you've,
Hey,
you know,
maybe how cool would that be? Yeah,
right?
that would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you start on here for a little while. One day, you go on. You say, "Hey, today I'm pitching my new theme park that I'm building in,
Yeah,
wherever." And then
That's
look at
awesome.
this.
but you guys have to come with me, right? Like I can't do it by myself. Y'all got to come with me if we do that.
Oh yeah. Oh my
I'll
gosh.
have
I'm honored. I'm so honored to have received an invitation. I mean, really,
Yeah.
truly.
I'll give you contact information for my agent.
Deal.
Your agent.
Yeah. I
That's
think it's
good.
the cat that was roaming the floor here. That's my agent.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
the important question is, as you launch into this, and I got to know this, you got to be upfront with me on this because years ago when David Letterman launched a show on the CBS channel, he brought his mother on there and she had different segments. What role is Mama Miller going to have in this?
You know what? You can't have a famous mom and she not be involved. Now, the problem I've got is she's blown up on TikTok, so she's doing great there. She's blown up in the Orlando former
Wait, you
community.
back up.
She's so
Tell the
busy.
audience what
She's so
she does.
busy. Yeah,
What
yeah.
what is her thing?
So she became known for bass fishing. She's the village's fishing lady, and she will live stream bass fishing to over 100,000 people. They will literally dial in and watch her catch. And what's funny is she really, I mean, she catches 10-pound bass. I mean, she can really fish. It's not like she's being goofy. I mean, she's my
Yeah.
mom. She's being goofy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She can catch fish. So that's really cool. And then obviously she got to help us as greeter at the Orlando Former meetups. And that's just been a lot of fun. Like we'll go to the theme park and, I can't go anywhere without people wanting to take not my picture, my mom's picture. Hey, can you hold the camera? We want to take your mom's picture. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
My family has a picture with her.
Yeah. A matter of fact, we actually 2 weeks ago we were at Dollywood. If you're familiar with the Smokies, right? And
Mhm.
we went to Dollywood in Pigeon Forge. We went to the island, and we were there
Yeah.
by the large Ferris wheel. And multiple families in line got out of line and said, "Oh my gosh, you're Mama Miller. Can we have a photo?" I was like, "In what world is my mom going to some regional bar?" Yeah. So
What?
my problem is, here's my problem though. If she's on
Okay.
TV too much, I'm gonna get booted. Like I can't lose my TV contract for
I get
having
it.
too famous a mom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
It's
tough.
a it's a
It's
delicate
tough.
balance. Yeah. But no,
Wow.
it's great, and hoping to leverage her at some point to help make for some great TV.
Yeah,
Yes.
because
Amazing.
back in the Letterman show back in the '90s, when he did this, he would send her on the trip reports to the Olympics, and she'd interview some Olympian. Now, see, that's what you got to do. You got to send her to for one of your segments. I'll take credit for this if it actually happens.
Okay, okay.
I like send her to a park, and she can interview someone on a roller coaster. I don't think that's
I
ever
love
been
it.
done on live TV before. So there,
Yeah.
if it
At least
happens,
she hadn't done it before. Yeah.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
it.
Well,
Only on
I
Cash
take that back.
Coaster.
Oh, yes.
Well, Cat Coaster, if you guys are familiar with the Fun TV segment, this is a really
Yeah.
deep cut. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty good. So I will say I feel like our interview organization today was not perfect. And but that's just the result of we bounced back and forth on topics like several
Yeah,
times, but it was so exciting to have you on here and
it
you're
is.
so engaging. So
In full
yes,
disclosure,
for
we
sure.
do have a framework that we work by. If you can see that, we did have a flow, but when talking to someone like Matt, it just takes on a life of its own. So
You
it's
fully abandoned.
yeah,
Well, I appreciate it. I tell you what, you guys do a heck of a job here. Obviously we get a lot of requests for these things and we do some, and honestly, we turn some down for whatever different
I
reasons,
bet.
but you guys do a great job. Obviously, I've met both of you outside the show and proud to know both of y'all, but seriously, y'all do what you do here is great. And I know a lot of folks listening in, not just myself, really appreciate what y'all do. So not just my episode. Thank you for everything y'all do.
Well, we do hope to have you on again. But actually, we're going to have you on sometime in October on our behind the scare series, talking about the Universal event in Vegas. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, a
I
lot to
might be
talk
making
Horror
there.
that.
Unleashed.
A lot to
Yeah,
talk there. Yeah. And we're
yeah,
rolling into the Halloween Horror Night season now. Hallow
right.
Screams coming up. I mean, we're getting ready to rock and roll for Halloween.
And
Yes.
I was wrong. That's
Yes.
coming up in September because all of our behind the scare things have been done in September. So yeah, I don't know if we told you that we're rolling out an entire series called Behind the Scare. That
Okay.
and doggone it, I don't have enough. I should have brought it up there, but I didn't. Anyway, so
It
we are in the
starts
middle of
tomorrow. As of the day of this video airing, the first behind the
Okay.
right.
scare video
That's
will
right.
upload
This
tomorrow.
will post on Monday, and our very first interview, we're going to have Mr. Don Helbig, who is the former one of the hosts of the show here, and so he'll be on doing his
Absolutely.
theme park
Painted picture.
because he's been. Hey, I have some things up there. Getting a little
That was
technologically
just a
advanced
random
to it.
one to have. I don't blame you.
That's
It
funny.
was. So,
That's
but
great.
no,
Don would be great. I think a lot of Don. Actually, I text him like Monday of this week. We were talking, so
did you?
I'm a big Don fan.
Nice.
So, and actually, airing also after we air this interview on Monday. I don't know which day it's going to fall on, but another name that you'll recognize, Cassie Tucker, will be on with us. We're actually conducting that interview tomorrow, and she's going to be talking about the Halloween Horror Nights event down in Orlando.
Wow. So it really
So
sounds like you're lowering your standards of who you invite on the show.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. We're big fans. I know she's going to watch this, friends, so she's going to get a kick out of me saying that. But yeah, please give her a hard time. You can tell her that it was Matthew Miller approved.
but well, see, but what we do is our little dog and pony operation here. We grab whatever coattails we can grab and ride them,
That's right.
and that's why
We
we have
have
to
to.
do it.
It's brutal.
Ah, I
How
like
big would
it.
it be if we had Mama Miller on?
Oh
How
my
big would
gosh.
that?
You
We
I
we
mean,
might.
are you yeah.
I don't have
You got
security at my
practical service.
apartment. I might need it
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
That feels like
Well,
you got to wait until you're like retiring the podcast. Because I mean, how do you go past that?
Yeah, you
Like
can't
what is
follow it up.
yeah,
who would in their right mind? I wouldn't want to follow that up, and I have dinner with her. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
who would want to do that? Yeah.
Once you climb that
That's
mountain, there's really nowhere to go after Jim and Pam to get together and get married. Where's the option to go from there? So
Oh
right.
it's
gosh.
yeah,
Right. Okay,
But no,
we
it's
had better
cool.
stop. We had better stop. We'll
yeah,
stay here all day. We're
we
56
will.
minutes in, and we still have to talk about the news
Goodness.
this week. So, Matt, thanks again. We'll see
Yes,
you back here soon.
we
Hopefully,
look forward to
fingers
the next
crossed.
time.
Yes.
Love it, guys.
Yes.
Appreciate y'all. Keep up the good work.
All right. That was awesome. That was so fun. I hope we
It
have him
is.
back on very soon.
Well, he will be back on later in the month.
Yes,
For
as we mentioned. Yeah.
so he will be back on, but he's the kind of person that we can have on multiple times.
Yeah,
There's so
for sure.
many, especially with this theme park Thursday. There's probably not a topic we would ever get into that he would not have an opinion on. A very good
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, well, you have a bit of a brain game for us to play today, no?
It's not really a brain game. It's an article that had come out. IAPA publishes these things every now and then. They're daily bulletins, and this is an article that was written in Fun World I think it's written in Fun World magazine. I haven't read through the whole version of this month's edition, but this came out in an email, and the whole premise of it is with water parks, and I believe that it is being written from the standpoint of Orlando-based water parks specifically. I think I didn't do a deep dive into it, and this is probably the abbreviated version of it. So if I go into the magazine, it probably has a full version of it. I just haven't had time from the time I read it to the time now. But the headline is Water Parks Retooling for Evening Operation, and there's 10 points that he has. I've cut a couple of them out because they seem to be Orlando specific, but with where a number of parks are right now, especially it's a different time for some park chains, uh, Six Flags in particular, because they're in a more of a contractionary mindset right now as they're trying to get their expenses in order. But I want to bring this up as just a question for what you think about this concept that was in this article, because the premise of it is to take the water parks, which are generally speaking, I think, unless they're indoors, they're mostly daytime attractions. Here in town, the water park is open till 8 through the summer, open till 7 now because the sun gets down earlier. But for a lower cost way than building a $30 million roller coaster, so is there a way for a regional park that they would come in and take the funds that they normally spend on $30 million roller coaster, and say they only spend, I don't know how much it costs, 5 million, whatever it may be, add lights through their water parks and begin offering a nighttime attraction at the water parks. This could be a way they could do a separate gate, maybe separate gate, or put armbands on people, and after 7 p.m. or whatever it is, you have to have an armband or pay, I don't know, $5, $10, $20 to be part of that nighttime attraction, because you could sell it as an upcharge attraction because there's a different experience.
Yep.
Normally the water parks are during the day. Here in Ohio, at least, and probably in Florida, obviously, it's still hot and humid at night in July. And so I just want to catch your opinion on that, because I'm just going to bullet point the points that he had in the article, and we'll put the link to the article to give credit to the person that wrote it. I didn't have his name on my notes, but number one, adding night lights, creating a fresh atmosphere with the addition of light sets a nighttime operation apart from the daytime. And I think if there's a lazy river, you can have a completely different experience with nighttime lazy river than you do during the day. Adding new amenities, dance party with whatever park may have IP characters. Six Flags, that can be Looney Tunes or Peanuts. Obviously, some places have other IPs that are specific to them, not necessarily that are national cartoons or things like that. A whole new palette of colors to market with, to in different people to come to enjoy this. Admission plans for all, new experiences, a new revenue stream for an existing attraction, which I think that would be something that could be very well welcome to park organizations looking for new revenue streams. It's already an existing attraction. You're just to put the old vernacular on it, putting lipstick on a pig. It's not that all water parks are pigs, but they are definitely an attraction that is already existing, and you can add a 3 or 4 hour attraction to them with changing very little. You're just adding lights to it or different experiences. Operationally speaking, again, I said that in the intro of this, you do 7 days a week, Friday, Saturday, a weekend, whatever it may be. You add DJs to it and make it more of a festive themed environment. Theme nights, Caribbean night. In
Separate. One night
Yeah,
is
yeah,
Caribbean night, the
different
next
ones.
night's Caribbean. Yeah,
One if you're from the north, one if you're from the south.
yeah, yeah.
And then food and beverage, you can do themed cuisine to anything with that. You can do glow in the dark drinks. What do you think? Is
This
this
is
a
awesome. I'm extraordinarily pro separate hard ticketed events. I think they're awesome.
okay?
I think parks should do them. All parks. You see your Disneys and Universals do them all the time with Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and Halloween Horror Nights and, um, you know, H2 Glow at Typhoon Lagoon at Disney's Typhoon Lagoon is very similar to this in a lot of ways. It's a hard ticket event. You go to the pool, you enjoy it. It's glowing in the dark and all these things. But here's what I think though. To be honest, a big part of the draw of this hard ticket event is its uniqueness. You don't
Hmm.
If you have a hard ticket event that's something like a nighttime glow event and you run it every day around the year, it's it's just weird. Like it's like this doesn't make any sense. It would make a lot of sense though if what you're saying about every night being a little different. You have a 4th of July one that you run for a couple weekends, and then you have a Halloween one that you run in the fall, or you have whatever. That's awesome. And people are going to pay the hard ticket event because they get that it's a unique experience that they couldn't get
Hmm.
all the time. But I do think the problem then becomes like it becomes expensive quick. If you're putting on 4 of these events a year, let's just say not even that many, 4 events. You do 2 weekends for 4th of July with red, white, and blue lights and you know American extra barbecue offerings and like that
Hmm.
kind of thing, and you put out some separate T-shirts for it, and then you run an LTO, you run like some sort of ticket package with it or a marketing thing with it. Maybe you just spent $3 million on that, and now you have to do it again for Halloween, again for Christmas, and again for your schools out summer party, whatever your 4 events are, right? I think it's a really good idea, and it's a way you can make a lot of money. But the thing, I think it's just probably is more expensive than what you know than
Yeah,
I bet it's more expensive than I think it is what I'm really saying.
probably.
Um,
But let me do some rough math of what you just talked about. So if you say you just spent $3 million, okay. So if you
for
do that
each
four
event is
times a
what I'm
year
saying.
for each
Yeah,
event,
so
$3
12.
million times four got 12 million. Your
Yeah,
average roller coaster is going to cost in excess of $30 million and no discernible return on investment. And if you're doing an upcharge event for $12 million, you can recuperate some of that and have a whole new experience. Meanwhile, you didn't spend $30 million, and basically that $30 million, and I'm just making that number up, has to be covered by your normal ticket gate,
yeah.
$50, $100, whatever it costs to get in. But this would be a new experience that at least some of the expense, if not all, can be offset by new ticket gate and sales inside those events.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right, and I do think this is why parks should do it. I think like we were talking about Orlando Informer earlier. I love Orlando Informer. I think the events are awesome. But after my
Hmm.
first time going, the first thing I thought to myself is, this is great, but why doesn't Universal just do them themselves? Like, now that they know it works, they have the infrastructure, their
Yeah.
employees run it. Like, why don't they just kick Orlando? Like, I don't want them to do that, okay? But just from a business perspective, like, why don't they kick them to the side? They're a middleman making money off of it. Why don't the Universal just say, hey, we're going to make that money now ourselves? You know, um, I don't know. I think there's something to that. Like, you could do a couple weekends a year, have ace-like events like Coaster Stock at Kings Island. Do that, but make it a hard ticket event and don't involve ace. Just run your own event.
Mhm.
But the point I'm getting at is their parks don't really do this. So there must be some reason, and what I'm thinking is that reason must just be that it's more expensive than what I'm imagining it is. Because, like,
Probably.
we talk about $12 million versus $30 million, but the average roller coaster doesn't cost $30 million. $30 is
Yeah,
an
I'm
expensive.
just
Like,
making that number up.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you look at, like, uh, we talk about Kings Island a lot. Snoopy's soapbox racers. That was probably less than $20 million. That was probably something akin
Probably.
to like $12 million. Airy Force One, which is a kick-ass. Excuse my language. I probably shouldn't have said that, but I will.
French. It's French. It's good.
Yeah, incredible, incredible. I mean, literally a top 10 roller coaster in the world, if you ask me. It is so good. It cost $12 million, all things considered, and they had to build up the like power infrastructure. Like, they had to rewire the whole park because there wasn't enough power to support that ride.
Yeah.
And that's included in that cost. So, yes, your B&Ms do cost that much money,
Mhm.
Rapterra, Orion, but I think in general, there must be, the numbers must be closer because otherwise parks would just do it. So I don't know. It
Yeah.
is interesting though, for sure.
But yeah, but maybe some that have water parks in the regional space or in the more Memorial Day to Labor Day space haven't really thought of it that in that manner. And when I
Yeah,
read the article,
for the
really
water parks.
it kicked into me because I thought I don't know that I don't think we're headed to a recession, but this my back,
Not quite.
not quite.
Okay, try. You're good now. I can see you moving and
Oh,
stuff.
all right. Uh, Recessions happen. Yeah, governments can do things that make them better or worse, and they've done both. But at the same time, they're cyclical. They happen. And when a recession would happen, but a park still feels the need that they need to roll out something new to keep people, whether or not they're getting people from out of town or a staycation, this is something they could do. Yes, it would cost a few $1 million to retrofit hey, maybe it wouldn't even cost that. I don't know. But they could market this as a new experience and upcharge it because it's a new experience. You could justify that expense. So I'm just looking at it. It's a way they could do raw a new experience when really they're just taking existing, taking a pig and slapping lipstick on it and
Yeah,
dressing it up to make it more attractive to people who wouldn't have thought about that experience. I mean, if you're like me, you go to the water park, you like it when it's dark out because you don't have the beach bod to go to the water park. So when it's dark out, you can hide a little bit. But no, I don't know. It's when I read the
no,
article
I
or the
agree.
thing
It
on
just
the
seemed
email, I
like a
thought
great idea.
it does. And
Yeah,
we're going to give the guy credit for the article. So if people take this idea and they run with it based on what we talked about, someone else is going to get credit for it, Cleet.
yeah, good, good, good.
So,
All right. Well,
but
thanks for checking out this week on the Attractions Group podcast. We'll be back tomorrow and the next day and the day after that with Behind the Scare interviews. And then we'll be back next Monday with our standard weekly episode. Hopefully you're
love it.
subscribed because you're going to have a lot that you would be capable of missing if you weren't subscribed or following us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. So thanks for being here with us, and we'll see you back here soon.
Bye bye.